Topping our lineup here on The Now, a growing number of teens are taking it upon themselves to quit vaping. We have the new resource available starting today to help. And you may start seeing some younger faces at your gym. Why big name gyms, even yoga studios, are starting to gear their memberships towards kids. And semi-drivers could soon stay on the road longer without taking a break, and that rule could mean bigger paychecks for them. But we're getting some perspective on what it could mean for safety for all drivers on the road.
Thanks, Chris. This is The Now Indy on RTV6. As we roll into July, new laws are going into effect here in the Hoosier State. Our Aaron Lish is working for you with some of those that passed earlier this year that could affect you and your family.
There are multiple laws going into effect today, and here are some of the more notable ones signed by Governor Eric Holcomb. After this anti-Semitic graffiti at a Carmel synagogue, there was a major push for a hate crime law. Now there is one. A judge can consider bias due to a crime victim's real or perceived traits. It is being criticized, though, for not clearly covering age, sex, or gender identity. And for those who are wrongfully incarcerated, they have the opportunity to receive $50,000 for each year behind bars once a conviction is vacated. Another big one is about Hoosier teens. Pregnant 16 and 17-year-olds will be able to get routine treatment even if their parents aren't around. And after the tragic crash killing 3 Indiana kids at a bus stop, the penalty will increase for passing a school bus with its stop arm out. And finally, high schoolers must take the naturalization test. This is taken by people who want to be U.S. citizens, but this doesn't affect a student's graduation requirements. So kids, get to studying. Aaron Lish, RTV6.
Thanks, Aaron. You can find these new laws in detail in this story on the RTV6 app and on our website, theindychannel.com. Kyle.
Time to take a look around central Indiana, and you see quite a bit of blue sky, some clouds out there. What you don't see are any downpours this evening, and I think that the rain chances are going to be very isolated and really less than 20% tonight. So chances are pretty good. You're just going to have to deal with the heat and the humidity that we've got out there. 89 in Indian Lafayette. Check out Muncie. You are baking at 94 degrees right now. It's 88 in Greenwood, and here's what it feels like. Many locations, it feels like the mid to even upper 90s. 98 is the heat index right now in Lafayette. Satellite and radar shows that things are quiet, not only in central Indiana, but really across the Ohio Valley here. There are a couple of thunderstorms moving into Louisville. Those will, of course, not be an impact on our forecast. Those temperatures still in the 80s through 9 o'clock this evening with sun setting at 9:17. Chris?
Let's start the Now news feed. Today, Iran says it is now past the limit on the amount of uranium it's allowed to have under the 2015 nuclear deal. This is the first major rule that Iran's broken in this agreement. It's been about a year since President Trump pulled the U.S. from that deal. Well, today is the printing deadline for the census, and the president wanted to add a citizenship question, but the Supreme Court said it couldn't be added for now. The president wanted the census delayed until the court could look into the issue even more. Well, the gap between the poor and wealthy has grown. The Associated Press says the economy's been growing for 11 years, but it does point out that the richest Americans hold a greater share of the nation's wealth now than they did before 2007. Well, as you as your family head to the pool this summer, the CDC is warning about an outbreak making people sick at swimming pools. Corey Rangel with a look at what's causing it and what you can do to help protect yourself.
Swimming pools across the country provide a refreshing way to cool off from the summer heat. But pools are now also linked to a growing number of outbreaks caused by a parasite called Cryptosporidium, or crypto for short. It can be spread in the water through diarrhea or even a leaky diaper.
You're drinking the water.
People who swallow pool water can get sick and deal with stomach issues that can last up to 3 weeks.
Every time they go underwater, they do either close their nose, always keep their mouth closed.
Lucellis has warned her children to be careful when they're swimming.
I always just make sure they know never to drink the water because it's never always clean.
This one's good within range.
Even in chlorinated water, the parasite can live for days, which is part of the reason the CDC says there has been a nearly 13% increase in outbreaks every year between 2009 and 2017. Those outbreaks tend to spike in July and August.
Once it gets hot out, that's when everybody wants to come out and get in the water. And also that's when the sun comes out, and the sun's what takes all those chemicals chemicals out of the water that help keep things clean.
To prevent outbreaks, the CDC says do not swallow pool water, shower before and after swimming, and anyone who gets sick should not go swimming for at least 2 weeks. I'm Corey Rangel reporting.
All right, good information there, Corey. Thank you. Let's get back to our lineup here on the Now. We know about the growing number of teens who are vaping, but now some of them are taking it upon themselves to quit, and we have the new resource available starting today to help.
Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Welcome back to the Now Indy on RTV6. You still have time to help make sure that Anne is dancing for years to come in downtown Indianapolis. Anne is a Mass Ave icon. It is the electronic dancing woman display put on Mass Ave about a decade ago. The crowdfunding campaign to help make the necessary repairs to keep Anne moving has ended. The Indianapolis Cultural Trail raised about 75% of its $262,800 goal. This past weekend, there was a Keep Anne Dancing dance party that raised more than $5,000. Even though the crowdfunding campaign is over, you can still donate money to the cause. Go to keepannedancing.org for more info.
One state is putting a pretty hefty tax on tobacco products starting today. From now on, people who buy e-cigarettes in Vermont will need to pay a 92% tax. Now, that tax is also on products like vaping liquid and cartridges, and that new tax also is on top of local sales tax. Several other states already have special laws for e-cigs, and some places are trying other aggressive approaches to stop teens from smoking or vaping. San Francisco is waiting on the mayor's approval to become the first city in the country to ban the sale of e-cigarettes. Now, no one in the city will be able to get their hands on them unless they're approved by the FDA as a clinical aid to stop smoking, and the FDA hasn't done that yet. Now, more states are getting on board with raising the legal age for buying tobacco products. The state of Alaska only wants to raise the minimum age by 1 year, but other states like California would like it to go up to 21. In Texas, the minimum age will officially change in September. And believe it or not, some teens are actually taking it upon themselves to quit vaping. That's why National Jewish Health has started a helpline for teens.
We know teens are really looking for help, and what we're trying to do is offer them a resource that is really designed for them, tailored to their needs, and that they'll feel comfortable using.
Teens will be able to talk to experts through text or through a website. They'll help them create a personalized plan for quitting. Teens will also have coaching sessions along the way. They eventually get a certificate for completing the program. Now, if your teens need help, the website is mylifemyquit.com, and it just went online today. Now, ahead in our lineup, you may start seeing some younger faces at your gym. Why big name gyms and even places like yoga studios are starting to gear their memberships towards kids. You're watching The Now.
That's right. Fast foodies know the deal.
$35. That's how much extra money that we would pay each month not to be tracked or see ads online, which does equal to $420 extra a year for our internet bill. Now, first thing to note with that, not all data tracking is bad. It actually can enhance some of our online experiences. GPS apps can map out better routes for us based on how we've driven that route before, or ads on Amazon shows us things that we're actually interested in. But if you're still not very comfortable with being tracked, there is a price to pay. That's because convenience is never free. So we spoke with a computer science professor who says there may be a future in paying to not be tracked.
Basically, when you use a website, you decide how to pay. Do I want to pay in dollars? Do I want to pay in giving you my data? Do I want to pay in having you mine Bitcoin while I'm on your site? It would be nice to have the options of choosing between what it is that we're paying when we are using a service.
Now, $35 is just really an estimate based on how much each person's data is worth. There is a possibility that some people would pay much more than that on top of their internet bill. All right, let's turn to the Now news feed. And electric cars, they may help the environment, but there are some concerns about their sound, or really lack of sound. Starting today, electric and hybrid cars in the European Union must have a sound system. It's so pedestrians can hear the cars coming since they are so quiet. Well, flat tires are the absolute worst when you're out on the roads, but those issues could actually soon become a thing of the past. The 2020 Ford Explorer will offer tires that fix themselves. So if you run over a nail, you'll be able to drive for days without needing a repair. Well, Steve Harvey is doing his part to help some students make it through college with little to no debt at all. Now, the game show host says that he'll pay for the college of 8 incoming freshmen at Kent State. Harvey's actually an alum of that Ohio school. Students must maintain a 2.5 GPA. Each student will get around $23,000. Styrofoam is the latest material that cities are starting to crack down on to fight pollution. New York City is officially enforcing its ban starting today, and this mostly impacts styrofoam for takeout containers or drinks. A styrofoam ban also starts today in Maryland. It's the first state to ban foam containers. Businesses do have a year to comply with the ban. Maine will also be getting rid of styrofoam food containers statewide beginning in 2021. Now, there have been a lot of places that have been banning plastic straws, but let's face it, those paper straws that easily fall apart, at this point, not a great replacement in many cases. So now a company called Strawfish is starting to make better paper straws. 3 friends in South Florida came up with the product they say will last 3 to 5 hours.
We want to just be able to get on a global scale. We can distribute anywhere in the world. We want, like we said, we want to give away every paper straw for free and get enough companies behind us to really make that push.
And the guys behind Strawfish say their straw is biodegrade after 6 weeks.
If you find it difficult getting to a Bureau of Motor Vehicles branch during business hours, a new location in Speedway may offer just what you need. The BMV has closed its branch near I-465 and Rockville Road on Indianapolis's west side and moved to a new facility in the Speedway Supercenter in the 5600 block of Crawfordsville Road. The new branch opens tomorrow. It includes a BMV Connect Center. BMV Connect is a self-service kiosk which gives you the option to complete more than a dozen BMV transactions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, much like a bank ATM. Convenient. If a natural disaster hit your home like a fire, flood, earthquake, or tornado, would you be fully covered by insurance? Turns out many of us are not. Working for you, our John Matarese shows why you may be underinsured and how to fix it so you don't waste your money.
2019 is turning out to be another year of billion-dollar weather disasters, flooding, tornadoes, and we're barely starting hurricane season. But already some families are learning they're not fully insured for the damage their home suffered. Imagine coming home to this after a tornado wiped out your home.
Kind of crappy, like seeing all of our stuff like everywhere.
But every time a bad storm hits, some homeowners learn they're not fully covered to rebuild.
There are some people that are trying to save a few dollars and they may not be covered or even properly covered.
Insurance Board VP Jennifer Pike says you need to have full replacement coverage, not just coverage for what you paid.
You might be able to buy the home for $250,000, but it could cost upwards of $1 million to replace it.
Now, many people who live in apartments assume that their property would be covered under their landlord's insurance policy. Sadly, though, that's rarely the case. Every time an apartment building burns,
2 tenants upstairs, I don't believe they had renter's insurance, so they are looking at a significant loss.
Jennifer Pike says many renters own $20,000 in clothing, TVs, and electronics. A couple $100 in renter's insurance would have covered the losses. Finally, be sure to take inventory. Use your phone to take pictures of everything from your TV to appliances, to your movie collection, to jewelry. Here we have a stack of movies. To make it easier, there's an app for that. The Balance.com's best home inventory apps for 2019 are Sortly, Memento Database, Nest Egg, and My Stuff Too. Some of those apps charge a small fee, so check with your insurance agent. A number of insurers offer this service free so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese for RTV6.
Thank you, John. And as we start off the month of July, it certainly feels like summer now, doesn't it? We've got 89 in Indy, 92 in Kokomo and Bloomington at 83 degrees. Your sky's clearing out a little bit after you had some rain earlier in the day. Tonight, not a whole lot of cooling is going to be happening. 71 with partly cloudy skies. We'll have that light southwest breeze, and that means we're going to keep the humidity around as well. It actually gets a little bit higher as we go into the day tomorrow. Those temperatures back into the mid-80s for your lunch hour tomorrow. We'll have a spotty storm possible as we get into the afternoon, and again we'll have those high temperatures right around 90 degrees. 91 in Columbus, 90 in Rockville tomorrow afternoon, and 90 in Kokomo. But with the humidity, heat index values mid to upper 90s tomorrow afternoon. Then on Wednesday, we've got upper 80s for a high as we gradually increase that chance for showers and storms. Middle of the week, your rain chance is about 40%. You can see on TrueCast as we go into Wednesday afternoon, we start to bubble up a few more of those downpours. And yes, on Independence Day, you may have to factor in a few of those downpours as well. Next 4 days of your forecast here, and there's the heat. Highs around 90 both Tuesday and Wednesday. But as the rain chances build, the temperature's coming down a little bit. Highs back in the middle 80s Thursday and Friday. Chris?
Let's start with the news feed. The Trump administration will hold off on a rule that would let medical workers decline performing an abortion because of moral or religious reasons. The rule was supposed to go into place on July 22nd, but opponents sued, and now both sides have decided to wait until a final decision in November. More disturbing details in the death of University of Utah student Mackenzie Lueck. A contractor says the man who's now accused of killing her once asked for a soundproof room to be built in his home. Now, that suspect was arrested Friday after Lueck's remains were found in his backyard. Well, drinking has consequences to those who aren't drinking at all. A new study says 1 in 5 people say that they've been harmed because of someone else's behavior while drinking. The study in the Journal of Studies on Alcohol and Drugs says that people were hurt by issues ranging from property damage to physical injuries. Well, it's important to stay in shape, especially as we get older, but Annie Taylor's finding out that more gyms and fitness studios are gearing their memberships to a much younger crowd.
And step and walk it forward.
Summer vacation is here, and while some teens don't mind spending their days watching TV on the couch, 13-year-old Grace would rather spend it working out.
I feel like I can get flexibility and strength. It's pretty fun.
Finding fitness fun is important, especially now that 17% of American children are affected by obesity, according to the National Institute for Health.
They need to be moving.
Casey Fike created a business called Kids Yoga Guide, gearing her practice to only children.
Inhale, cobra, low lift. Yoga brings so many powerful practices into their life of learning to move mindfully, of being able to exercise and have fun all at the same time.
Even big-name gyms are jumping on board.
About 49% of the teens we surveyed said that they hadn't had any activity within the last 7 days.
Planet Fitness created a summer membership for teens. Best part, it's free of charge until September 1st.
I already work out in general, and it's a great stress reliever for me.
It's kind of nice to do something for the sole purpose of, personal gain and, trying to be more healthy.
Both Tom from Planet Fitness and Casey say fitness is also a great way for parents and kids to bond.
Some of our classes, too, the parents can stay and do yoga with the kids, so they love that because they're actually experiencing and seeing what the kids are doing.
As for Grace, she says she's setting herself up for a healthy future.
When I'm an adult, I'm going to, know the right foods, and I've come to enjoy certain foods that I never would have liked if I hadn't been raised in this lifestyle.
Namaste.
Namaste.
I'm Annie Taylor reporting.
All right, Andy, thank you. And cellulite is something that's really difficult for a lot of people to overcome. And out there are lotions, creams, serums, but doctors are saying those don't really work. There's a new study published in Cogent Medicine that looked at this device that manipulates the skin. What it does is essentially grips the skin and stretches and pulls on parts of the skin under the surface. The theory here is the device is enhancing blood supply to the tissue and smoothing out the skin. Researchers found that women in the study were able to improve the appearance of their skin, but it wasn't a long-term solution.
It's something you have to do kind of routinely to be able to sustain the outcome. You can't stop it and expect the cellulite to stay looking good. It usually will come back with time.
Now, Dr. Manish Shah also says these type of devices can cause some other complications.
Some of them are actually damaging blood vessels or stretching out nerves. They're causing other complications because they're pushing so hard.
Now, there are other techniques outside of surgery that can help with the appearance of cellulite, like non-invasive technology that melts some of the fat. Exercise does work to an extent, but isn't very effective in people who are older due to the fibers under the skin. And another thing to remember, cellulite is genetic and tends to worsen with age. All right, finally in our lineup today, here on The Now, rules could be relaxed for semi-drivers, letting them go longer without taking a break. Now, that flexibility could be great for drivers, but there are some concerns about safety on the road for all of us.